Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of Trackside with Tom. My name is Tom Hogan. I'm owner and operator of Steel Highway Railcams, and I am very excited to be here with everyone today. I am flying solo, at least for the moment anyway, but we're going to try a little different format. I know that when you listen to radio programs, often they will do open line programs. And so we're going to try doing an open line format today where people can put in timestamps and webcams into the comment section, and we're going to try to get through as many timestamps and webcams for different trains going by that people can throw in. And I know that the mods for Steel Highway have already given me a couple of timestamps to start with. So welcome everyone. We've got John Bulio and Tanner Kilborn is there, and Alan Hunt, always good to see you. Mike Richmond, Barry up in Butler Junction. Good to see everyone today. Thank you all for tuning in. And we're going to get started by talking about the Steel Highway second quarter of 2023 magazine. This is our cover photo provided so graciously by Chris Lastovich. And this is just one example of the great photography that is available in this magazine. So anyone that is interested in subscribing to the magazine or ordering this issue, which is all fallen flags and heritage units, you should totally go to the Steel Highway website, steel-highway.com, and put in a pre-order for the next issue of Steel Highway. And just as an aside, if you subscribe, I will also get you caught up and send you the previous issue from February as well. The previous issue, number 6 from February, we'll mail that out to you. And because the subscriptions run from January 1st to December 31st. So, Amtrak number 6 just passed a BNSF Ottumwa cam at 11:56. All right. Well, we're going to get right to it here. As we said, this is Open Line Monday, so to speak. And the first timestamp that I have from one of the mods is actually from Grand Mound. So this is where we're going to begin. And we're going to have an eastbound move going by Grand Mound. This is the Union Pacific Clinton sub. And we see that we have another one of these via rail train sets going to Canada. That the UP, I feel like, has made a couple of these moves now. So, pretty short train. But interesting nonetheless. And so I wanted to make sure and share that with everyone right off the bat. And then the other timestamp that I had from one of the moderators was from East Dubuque. So we're going to jump quickly over to East Dubuque to the West webcam, I believe, at East Dubuque. If I can find it, there's the East webcam at East Dubuque. And there's the West webcam at East Dubuque. And we have a timestamp of 10:45 this morning, so not too far back. And, a little too far there. 10:12, 10:28, 10:40. You can see we got some snow here in Iowa and Illinois the last couple of days. But we have, here, 10:44. And we have a H1 leader at East Dubuque at 10:45 this morning. And we can see the gates coming down right now. So thank you, Josiah, for providing this timestamp for us to work with. And I think we're going to see pretty quickly here. Yes, there's our H1 leader on a westbound, I believe he said this is a Galesburg Northtown train. BNSF 968, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe is a former Santa Fe unit. And this Galesburg Northtown train, nice cut of auto racks here on the head end. Always interesting to look at. There's a Southern Pacific auto rack. Very nice. So, in the comments we have A Train here today. Stormy Sky Rail Productions. Yes, Amtrak number 6 past BNSF Ottumwa. So we'll jump over to look at Amtrak right after this probably. Iowa Falls at 0910, a northbound with UP 1943 leading. All right, Alan Hunt, thank you. Ryan Winan, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Ryan Winan. Yes, things are going well here. Cameras in southern Wisconsin. Yes, you know, I have a fair number of leads in Wisconsin that I'm looking at trying to capitalize on later this year. Nothing particularly, how shall we say, definitive yet, but lots of leads where I think that we're going to get some cameras on some of the east and west lines there in southern Wisconsin. So look for more details as we go along here. Ian is Trains in Minnesota. Good to see him. Carroll at 0109. Great Whistle. Interesting. All right. 22 inches of snow reported in Northfield, Wisconsin. That is just so much snow, especially for it being April 17th? That's just a crazy amount of snow. And somewhere I saw the National Weather Service is actually predicting flooding for the upper Mississippi River, specifically along the Iowa side of the Mississippi River coming up in the next month or so. So we'll have to see what comes of that, but we might have a front row seat for some high waters coming up soon. Riveted Rail Fan, that's Luke over in Memphis. Good to see you. Yes, watching the stream, that's right. Oh, it's not Santa Fe. All right. What is the heritage of that? What is the heritage of that then, that 968? I guess I'm not actually sure. Belle Plaine. You know, Belle Plaine went offline, and I talked to the guys at Museum. I tried to troubleshoot remotely with them. We couldn't get anywhere. And then actually sent a buddy out there yesterday to try to troubleshoot at the museum, and he couldn't figure out what was going on. The problem with Belle Plaine is that it's at a museum. The museum is only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'm not going to be able to get... I'm not going to get any more... I'm not going to have another chance to get out there and troubleshoot until the end of the week. So unfortunately, Belle Plaine is going to be offline for a minimum of the next 4 days or 5 days. Webcam at the Montpelier, Iowa Fire Station. Nice. I mean, that's kind of close to Muscatine, but I get it. It's not a bad idea, and you get to see the IPSCO train going through there every day. So, and, you know, see the Stone train come down and switch at night, I suppose. Daniel Swanson, hello. Leads on CP in western Wisconsin. No, not at this time, but again, lots of ideas for potential locations that I've got to try to follow up on. So there goes the rear of our train. So now we're going to start going through the timestamps that you guys are putting in the comments for me. Amtrak number 6, BNSF Ottumwa at 11:56. So we're going to jump right over there. And thank you, everyone. We got 36 people watching today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. BNSF Ottumwa. You know, one of my favorite stories, and I know I have a lot of favorite stories from working on the railroad, but I could do a pretty spot-on rendition of a defect detector over the radio, and it was pretty funny because I fooled some people once when we were on the siding at New Hampton, and it was amusing to say the least. All right, so here is the eastbound California Zephyr, number 6. The station is about a mile or so east of this location. We've got the 816 and the 22. And looks like a 7-car train today, if I'm counting that right. So there is Amtrak today proceeding eastbound through downtown Ottumwa. And, thank you to the Grand Mound, City of Grand Mound for hosting. Thank you to Ottumwa Main Street Donuts for hosting. Thank you to our private host in East Dubuque, where we have a webcam there. All right, what's our next timestamp? 0910, northbound empty grain train with the UP 1943 at Iowa Falls. So, let's go over there and take a look at Mills Tower. And again, as we go to Mills Tower, thank you very much to the Iowa Falls Historical Society for hosting us at the last remaining interlocking tower in the state of Iowa, Mills Tower, the only interlocking tower that was preserved. Oh, a little too far. 907. We got to go ahead just a hair. There we go. We can hear him listening for the crossing, whistling for the crossing. So, this guy should be, if I got the timestamp correct here, Alan Hunt gave me this. Yeah, there's the 1943. The one of the World War II heritage units, and the UP roster. It looks like a GE and a EMD following. So, thank you, Alan Hunt, for that timestamp. And we see that this is a grain train. It looks like, with mostly UP system hoppers. Those CMOs, those are reporting marks from the Omaha Road, which was obviously a subsidiary of the CNW. CHTT, that's Chicago Heights Terminal, I think. That was a MOPAC subsidiary that the UP resurrected their reporting marks. Can't believe the UP let that lead. Yeah. So, what else do we have here? Western Wisconsin, new for BNSF. The river looked pretty harsh on the way back from CP yesterday with the snowstorm. Yeah, 22 inches of snow melting and running off. And then that's going to make the rivers rise. So, okay. Wisconsin Southern Cam near Horicon. That I wouldn't have a problem with that. I have talked to the guys at the Slinger Depot several times. They're open to the idea of hosting, but there's a lot of details to be worked out because they don't own the depot. So they've got to work with the owners of the depot to make that happen. All right. Mid-Iowa Rail. So that's Andrew Elgis. H1-9s were delivered to BNSF in that scheme. Okay. So my assumption was that was an ATSF-9 that was repainted, but that's an actual BNSF-9. Got it. That makes sense. Thank you for the clarification there, Andrew. Status of the Clinton camera. I just talked this morning to the lady that is the curator at the Clinton Historical Society, and they are right now working through the different ISPs to figure out who their internet provider is going to be. And once they have that hammered out, then we will have an internet connection and we will have a webcam at the Clinton Museum. So thank you for the question. We are working actively on that. Tom, hey, you gave me the first timestamp that I used with that via eastbound move by Grand Mound. So thank you for that, Tom. St. Croix River is quite high in Minnesota. Yes, I absolutely believe that. Again, snowmelt, runoff, it's that time of year. Grinnell at 0902, eastbound CBB 17, 1x1, nothing special, but it's daylight because of the tie project. Yeah. So definitely we will jump over to Grinnell next. We don't really get much daylight action by Grinnell, certainly not in the winter anyway. Although we are in fact getting into that time of year where the days are getting longer and we should really be having greater amounts of daylight. The California Zephyr was led by a UP engine and 11 hours late on Saturday. Wow, so they must have had some kind of mechanical failure. Empty grain with the 1943 came from Venado, Mexico. Couldn't figure out where it's going. Interesting. All right. M Helium, hi. 4:45 a.m. BNSF snow train in Trempealeau. All right. And Brett H.O. Scale, good to see you. M Helium, nice to see you. Larry Osborne, thanks everyone for tuning in. Got 30 people online right now. Yes, ATCS server in Clinton as well. We should be able to cover Comanche and Deer Creek from the Clinton location. That's right, it will be both. Alright, so the next timestamp that we're going to go to is Carroll at 0109. Oh, something else I should point out. We are so close to 8,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So thank you everyone for subscribing. You know, obviously that's an important way to be able to participate in the chat, for instance, on the various webcams. But again, thank you everyone for subscribing and helping to, I clicked on the wrong thing there, helping to support Steel Highway in that way as well. Because one of the things that when I go to pitch potential host sites on whether or not they should host a webcam, one of the things that I do is I point out to them the number of subscribers we have and the number of monthly views that the YouTube channel is getting. And so having more subscribers, having lots of people logging in and checking out, all right, so that's all very important. So keep telling people to subscribe to Steel Highway, definitely. And now I believe that we're going to get an eastbound coming through Carroll at 0109, and we were told it had a pretty sweet horn on it. So yes, flood precautions starting to take place in St. Paul yesterday. That makes perfect sense to me. That yard is very, very prone to flooding when the river starts coming up. In Clinton, yes, ATCS server and webcam at the museum in Clinton, Iowa. That is right. And I have high hopes for getting the north end of the Davenport sub, the entire north end of the Davenport sub, covered out of that Clinton location from Deer Creek down to Comanche. Man, that is a good sounding horn. Love that. Looks like we've got a loaded ethanol train going east here. He had that one cover car on the head end and a solid string of tanks. So, Yeah, 29 watching. I see 30, but yeah, it's right in that neighborhood. Oh, we got an eastbound too. Look at this. We've got a meet. This is fantastic. Well, thank you, Barry, for giving us this timestamp, because we just got an incredible meet here at Carroll at 1:10 in the morning. So it looks like this westbound is a manifest. The westbound is over here on Main 1, and he's now blocking the eastbound that was rolling by on Main 2. So thank you very much for providing that timestamp. Everybody keep throwing timestamps into the chat here. We're doing an open line program, and we need to have timestamps. I want to involve everyone a little more and give people the opportunity to kind of provide the direction of the show today and see how this goes. So, making the trip up to the range for the weekend of Munger install. See you guys there. I am looking forward to that. We're going to put in a webcam at the Munger Tavern and an ATCS server at the Munger Tavern as well. And if all goes according to plan, we're actually going to have an ATCS display of the Iron Range and Rainy subs inside the tavern so that people can be there and know when trains are coming. They don't just have to listen for the horns. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to be up there, going to drive up the night of April 30th, be up there May 1st to do the install, coming home on May 2nd. And love the channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the support there. Yes. Now, while this is going on, I have a new project that I have been working on the details for quite some time, and I'm about ready to be able to share this with people. You know, we've been doing Trackside with Tom here for about 6 months now, and I'm really impressed. We have a really great viewership that tunes in and watches. There's the rear of that train. And I think that this is going to be a fantastic opportunity for a new project that's going to put more utilization to the webcams that we already have. So our next timestamp, where are we looking at here? Next timestamp is going to be 0902 CBBI at Grinnell, Iowa. So as we move over here, we're going to find, since it's CBBI, we're going to find the Grinnell West camera and pull that up. Here we go. 0902. And we need to find, oh, we went back almost an hour too far. All right. 852. We're very close. Here we go. Can hear the horn coming. Yes, and that's something that I actually talked to Mark Lowe about, was having the ATCS server up there on the hill at Munger, because we know that the Duluth host is not going to continue hosting. So, while this guy is coming up, we are going to start a poll. And we're going to start a poll for... So, my brainchild from the very beginning of this project with Steel Highway has been to have a continuous feed of trains moving and being able to switch between cameras and show people just this constant feed of trains. And we see the CBBI is getting close here now. He's kind of crawling up here because of the diamond. Now, in order to create this, there were two things that had to happen. I have to have a certain number of webcams, and my goal was kind of always 50. But we'll let the head end of this train get by before I continue on with it. I'm going to type out this poll. But this is the CBBI, the Council Bluffs to Blue Island train on the Iowa Interstate going through Grinnell, Iowa. And there goes the head end. No containers on the head end today, but maybe they're coming up later. We'll see later in the train. So the question is going to be, well, first off, to have this continuous stream of train traffic, my goal was kind of to get to 50 cameras. Well, we've only gotten to 33, but I've actually got 2 more partners that have been willing to jump in and help by allowing me to use their cameras for this project. It's Northern Transcon Railcams up in Minnesota and Southwest Railfan, who has cameras in Arizona and New Mexico. And I am going to try to create a continuous feed of trains by switching between cameras, knowing where to switch between cameras, by having a bank of streams going on a side camera, and then providing for 6, 7, 8 hours at a time, just this constant stream of trains. The problem is, to have enough cameras, and then for me to have the ability to take the time and do this, because I have small kids. I have kids in school. There's some empty well cars. There's actually a long string of empty well cars, but I do not see any containers in there yet. So, in order for this to work, it would have to be a paid service. It would have to be something that would be you would have to purchase a certain level of membership in the channel in order to access it. Now, the first couple times I do it, I am going to do it as a free service. Yeah, it is. They said it's a 1x1 with a DPU, yes. So, I would start it out as a free service to try to generate some interest and then transition it over to a paid service later on. So, this is the question now. For the 43 people that are here watching us today, would you pay a monthly membership to Steel Highway to be able to access 1 day a week or a couple days a week or however often I was able to provide it, to be able to access a live stream of continuous train movements, or as close to a continuous train movement as I can get, with access to 50 different cameras, jumping around between cameras and just going to wherever the next train is. So I'm going to create a poll here. Would you pay for a premium service as a... Oops, not as a... with... There's the DPU coming. For continuous train action on Steel Highway and other webcams. And it's just a yes or no question, but we're going to ask the community. So out of the 43 people here, how many of you feel like there would be enough value in that? And maybe it's something you'd have to see before you would be willing to commit to it. I don't know. But I feel like that this is something that if I can hit the right audience with it, I think that there is a market for this. So where are we going next for our timestamp? We just did CBBI, and now we're going to go to 4:45 a.m. at Trempealeau. All right. Trempealeau Hotel webcam. All right. 4:45 a.m. So we're going to jump back here. We have a train going by live. We're going to rewind and watch this quick, since we have something literally right in front of us here. Oh, didn't quite go back far enough. What did we have? Let's see. There we go. All right. So we have, there's a Ferromex engine. Look at that. You know, I misspoke on one of the previous programs when I talked about Ferromex being a fallen flag. It's not technically a fallen flag. What I meant to say is that the UP has started buying shares in Ferromex. I think they're a 25% owner of the Ferromex brand now. So, or the Ferromex system. All right, so this is a westbound BNSF train going through Trempealeau. We are going to jump back to that 4:45 timestamp, but I'm glad we caught that Ferromex engine. That was very interesting. So, let's see here. What else do we have for comments here? William Clare, hello, good to see you. Jeeper Preacher, thanks for tuning in. We got 45 people watching live right now. Railfan Maxim still, yes, good to see you. Yeah, Rich is good. Rich is really good to work with. He and I met last summer up in Brainerd when he was getting the idea to put the webcam into Brainerd that day. And I think that it's been I've really enjoyed talking to Rich and working with him, yes. Christensen Lumber would be okay with a webcam downtown Fremont, Nebraska. Sure. I'd be very interested in that. Fremont is a great railroad spot. Absolutely. Intermodal 0904 on the camera. Stay with the basic service. Sure, I understand. Not everyone's going to pay for it, but some people would. All right, so there's the rear of our, and it looks like somebody peeling out on some kind of a motorbike. All right, now we're going to jump back to 4:45 a.m. and 3:15. 4:45 a.m. Where are we at here? 4:25. We got to go a little bit. Oh, I think I went too far. 4:42. All right, so we got to go ahead a little bit earlier. You can see quite a bit of snow up here in Trempealeau overnight. Oops. Jumped ahead just a hair too far. All right, 4:43. Yeah, we just about got this. 4:44 and 23 seconds. Now we're gonna see. We are gonna see this 4:45 eastbound go by Trempealeau. And who gave me this? Oh, M Helium. Yes. Train in the snow, going by Trempealeau. 4:45 a.m. And here comes the head end. Kind of looks like a solar eclipse over there, but, you know, we make it work. And what do we have here? Coming right up on 41 people watching today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We can see apparently the city of Trempealeau is starting to plow their streets here early in the morning. And it looks like... Oh, there's another H1, this time not leading, but heading east on the St. Croix sub. So thank you for that timestamp. Definitely appreciate it. And we'll bump that down just a hair. But yes, train in the snow. And this really does give you a great idea of the amount of snow. It looks like they've already got 6, maybe 8 inches of snow on the ground there at Trempealeau this early in the morning. So let's see here. 904 on the camera. I would say yes. I'd pay depending on the price. Not supposed to go past $25. Got it. Okay. Fremont, Nebraska would be a cool spot for a camera. I agree, AI34. Definitely. Do I attach scanners onto the cameras? No. The scanner, so every site has a PC at it. The scanner gets plugged in from the audio out, the speaker out on the scanner, over to the mic in on the PC. And it allows the feed to go directly into the PC as an audio input. Let's see here. What do we have? We're looking at a BNSF eastbound going by on the St. Croix sub. And one spot protected from the elements. Yes. Scanners onto the cameras. I explained that. The community knows me very well. All right, well, that's good to know. Tyler, hello everyone. Good to see you. Evan McCobb, cams in Minneapolis, Minnesota come. All right, well, I have talked to the guys at the St. Paul Union Depot, but no one's ever called me back about streaming their camera over to Steel Highway, so I'm not sure what their deal is. Nice inclusion of the Iowa Interstate. Thank you, Joe Parsons. Area of the river got slammed hard yesterday. Yeah, lots of snowfall. Yep. Main Street on the building, number 204. Signing off for now. Do you see a distorting in the lens, or is there a curve? So the edges of the camera, it does bend the image a little bit on the edges of the camera, yes. BN was sure fighting with the CP over La Crosse Diamond this weekend. Huge cluster on the BN, and the CP wasn't really running anything. Interesting. And the CP controls the Diamond at Grand Junction. Yes, I did know that. So, all right. Well, I think we're pretty well caught up. We have our poll, and it looks like we got 35 votes, 34% yes, 67% no. Well, so that's good to know. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to close the poll down now. I do think that this is something that it's probably going to be available sometimes as a free service, and it's going to be available other times as a paid service. So that is something that I've definitely been looking at, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how much the viewership is willing to support this kind of a project. So look for that coming coming up in the approaching days here. So 95009 Griffith should be L515, and then 0544 Griffith on the GTW main. All right, so we will go over to Griffith next as soon as we're done rolling by this BNSF train. And, and a southbound line through Muscatine. Well, thank you, Tanner. Definitely appreciate that. We might be able to jump down and see something live on Muscatine, potentially. Do you know where that southbound is? I admit I don't have my CP ATCS pulled up right now, but I could probably find it relatively quickly. If we know that there's something coming, we're going to open the Canadian Pacific DM&E server, and it says, open up. Come on, you can do it. It says that there's a train in the siding at Hines, and then it looks like one at Montpelier heading south. All right. And he's the one lined through Muscatine and all the way down to Letts, it looks like. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Yes, the next timestamp we have, southbound at IPSCO. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Montpelier and IPSCO are a mile apart, if that. So Yeah, it might make it down to Muscatine in the next 20 minutes by the end of the program here. We're going to go over to Griffith now, and we've got a couple timestamps from Griffith. So, thank you for the timestamps that were provided. We're going to go first to 9:50:09. 9:50. Oh, way too far. That's like 7:34. We got to go ahead a bit here. All right. 9:48. We got to jump ahead just a hair. Oh, that's 8:48. I'm sorry. I was looking at that totally wrong. Okay, now I went too far. But we got the right general idea now. So, let me think here. Where have we been? Thank you to the Trempealeau Hotel for hosting us in Trempealeau, Wisconsin. There we go, 9:49. All right. So, we were over at Grinnell. Thank you to the Mayflower community for hosting the webcams at the Diamond in Grinnell, Iowa. And thank you to the Trempealeau Hotel for hosting us in Trempealeau, Wisconsin. I see we have the gates coming down, and it looks like we might have some ducks or turkeys maybe wandering around by the Diamond. This is interesting. I have not seen this before, so definitely curious to see if they get spooked by the train going by. And here comes, oh yeah, we got SD70s in the lead. The 1024, the 1039, and then we've got a GE, the 3148. Death Star leading 3122, 3256. All right. And then it looks like an SD70, the 8850, 294. All right. We got a big consist here. And what are we seeing? We're guessing that this is the L515 going by Griffith. This is a westbound move going from Kirkyard and Gary toward Joliet. And let's see here. We have another timestamp at Griffith to look at after this. 0544 on the GTW side. This is the EJ&E side that we're going by. And might be one of our last trains covered in snow of the year at Bellevue early this morning, 5:33:30. Yes, we were talking earlier in the program, Noah, about the fact that there is several inches of snow here in Iowa, quite a bit more further north. So I think that there's a decent chance that this could be our last snowstorm of the year, but we're definitely looking forward to seeing some warmer weather for sure. So let's see here. If I do this, I'm just going to do a little math quick, but if I take 36 times... All right, so, well, that's good to know. All right, so I'm just doing the math on 36 votes, and a third of the people said that they were interested in a premium steel highway service with continuous train movements, so I find that to be promising, to say the least. And as we move along here, we see that the CN is kind of slowly rattling their ways across the Diamond. There's an open-top steel coil car. Covers were missing or simply never put in place, or who knows, but that's not something that you see too very often. Southbound has, it looks like, cleared Ipsco and heading toward Hines now. So we may be able to get over to Muscatine and see a southbound train here at the very end of the program. And, oh, it looks like we have somebody that is ready to join in and join as a co-host. Hello, Sam Bolte. How are you doing?
Yes, I got back from Chick-fil-A, so...
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Well,
I didn't think it'd be that quick, but here I am.
We have Sam Bolte on board with us now as a co-host. We're watching I don't know if you're up to date here with what we're doing. We're watching a westbound pound their way across the diamonds at Griffith at the moment.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm going to share my screen with you. So we have a co-host here for the last 20 minutes of the show anyway.
Yeah, I don't know where Noah is, but...
That's all right. You know, I went into this today, honestly, expecting to do it totally on my own, and I came up with this kind of, open line format that I wanted to try today. And the viewers have been very gracious in continuing to share timestamps with me, so I have not run out of material at any point. I haven't been sitting here picking my nose saying, hey, what are we going to do next? It's worked out pretty well. Of course, you know...
Oh, go ahead.
Well, even if I was picking my nose, you wouldn't be able to tell because you can't see me.
I don't think anyone would want to see that anyway.
No, probably not. You're right. All right. We're jumping to 5:44 in the morning for another move, this time across the opposite direction on the Griffith Diamonds. We actually have a westbound move on the GTW coming in from the Indiana side and heading into downtown Chicago. And it looks like, oh, we got a CITX, or a former CITX unit second out.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, former. I have to keep reminding myself of that because I see that and my brain immediately just says CITX, of course.
Yeah, because, you know, I usually think of that as being on the BNSF usually, because that's what I remember them always being on, but...
Right.
I mean, you still can, you know, they occasionally go through Fort Madison. I don't know why, but I've just seen them going through Fort Madison lately. I don't know why, but...
Interesting.
They're always trailing, but, you know.
Right. Trail fail. Yep.
Even though at least one has PTC now, because it led a train through Wisconsin on the CN, so...
Oh, all right. So they're getting some upgrades. Has it been repainted, or they just installed the equipment?
No. It just has PTC.
Got it.
Okay.
So this is one of these, and I forget the symbol, but there's a pair of these auto rack trains that the CN runs directly to CSX, or via the CSX into downtown Chicago. Sorry, and I know that we caught them because we actually caught both trains on the same day about a month ago. But yes, this is definitely it's one of these pairs of kind of infrequently run solid auto rack trains. So, as I look through the comments here, we're looking at...
I'm not even on.
Oh, we have all right, so Noah gave us a timestamp for 05:33 at Bellevue, so we'll jump over to that next. And you would pay for Steel Highway cams and scanners, but not other brands. Love it. Thanks, M. Murphy. Appreciate it. News about CTC north of Dubuque yet? No. And actually, they haven't completed the CTC south of Dubuque yet. So I wouldn't hold your breath for anything north of Dubuque. Certainly not in this calendar year, anyway.
Well, I think Bellevue's getting... Oh, north of Dubuque.
Yeah, north of Dubuque.
No. I was just saying Bellevue's going to be done this year, but...
Right. I think that the expectation, I should say, is that the Bellevue siding and then completing the signaling system from Bellevue siding up to Wood. And I believe that is what I would expect to see happen. And maybe they wire up the Dubuque siding as well. Just right there in downtown Dubuque. And
that might as well.
Right, that might be the extent of where they go for this summer. I do know that the CP is planning on being as aggressive as their accountants will let them be, spend as much money as they can on capital improvements, and so the goal is to get the Marquette sub signaled all the way up to the Y in Marquette. But that's going to be a multi-year project. You're not going to see that knocked out even in... I don't think you'll even see it done at the end of next year. I think that that's 3 years away yet for them to get another 60-some, almost 70 miles north of where they are right now to get all the way up to the Marquette yard with the signaling system. Let's see here. What else? I worked for the railroad. Yes, I worked for the Iowa, Chicago, and Eastern, and I worked for the Canadian Pacific after they bought. And so that goes back to the original point I was making. I used to be able to do a dead-on impersonation of a defect detector. So...
Oh, God.
So, I did this once. We were at the siding in New Hampton, all right? And we were making a meet at New Hampton, and the other train crew was getting close. And we already had radio-controlled switches at Ashen and at Eckerd's. Then these were the Mason City pool crews that we were running between Mason City and Dubuque at the time. So we would have to dial up these radio control switches every time we went by them. And I got to the point where I was so good at this that I literally, I went down, I lined the switch, and then I got on the radio, and I literally said, let me think. Because I got to remember what the exact verbiage was. It was, east siding switch, New Hampton, lined, reverse, east siding switch, out. And I did that over the radio. And the other crew, the westbound crew that was coming toward us, they heard that, and one of them literally got on the radio and said, when did they install power switches at New Hampton? And they were so confused. And the guys got down there. They were so confused because I did such a dead-on impersonation of the voice from the radio-controlled switches. And I did it for the defect detectors, too.
That's funny.
Yeah. The ones that are female defect detector voices, I couldn't do that. But the ones that were male defect detector voices, I could totally pull it off.
Do we want to go to Mount Pleasant? Because I have a timestamp.
Did the Amtrak go by Mount Pleasant? Yeah, we saw them at a tumble.
They're leaving right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, on the wrong main, actually.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Of course, they're never on time these days.
Well, the station agent at Mount Pleasant has told me on numerous occasions if Amtrak shows up before noon, he considers it on time for the eastbound move. So, yeah, we probably got time to do that. We're going to go over and hit, because you're saying Amtrak's already leaving, so it's not like we can see them in real time.
Well, they are and the last car just cleared the crossing.
Right.
There they go.
So we'll go over to Bellevue and check this timestamp out that somebody gave me.
Okay.
Oh, it was Noah. Sorry, Noah gave me a timestamp for Bellevue, and then we'll go over to Mount Pleasant and roll Amtrak by again. And maybe we've got a southbound between Ipsco and Hines right now that we're hoping we'll get into Muscatine in time to see him as well. All right. Tornado drills for severe weather. All right, on Thursday, April 20th. Interesting, in Wisconsin and Minnesota. CITX leader on the CN Fulton sub a while back. Wonder if that was the same train. Or the same unit, I suppose. Because if there's only the one that's PTC capable, it might have been the very same unit. Trempealeau PTZ cam ready to install. I do have my donated PTZ cams now, but the next install that I'm doing is I'm going up to Duluth to knock that out on April 30th. So I don't have a time frame set up for it. I just know that it's going to happen, yes. Quick question, are all these ballast trains to and from Waterloo, Wisconsin being used for siding projects between Nahant and Kansas City? It wouldn't surprise me. But honestly, it's kind of one of these things where it is the season for track projects, right? All the railroads are getting out. CP is no exception. They're getting out and they're doing their track projects, and so you're going to see a lot of, especially on Canadian Pacific, you're going to see a lot of ballast trains and rock trains and riprap trains and rail trains and everything else that they're running. Okay, on to Bellevue. Bellevue, Iowa. So thank you to the Griffith Historical Society for hosting us at the Griffith Interlocking Tower in Griffith, Indiana, because that isn't redundant at all, you know. 2nd Street Station, Brinker's Pizza. Oh, what did I do? Apparently, I got back out of it.
Yeah, I have no idea, actually.
I don't know. It was there, and then it disappeared. I clicked on the wrong thing, apparently. Let's try this again. There.
There we go.
All right. So, 5:33 in the a.m. And, yep, I see it. So we were looking at a train in Trempealeau at just about this same time. As we can see, the lights are going off there at the intersection. There was just a ton of snow on the ground at this exact same time, but over 100 miles further north up in Trempealeau, Wisconsin. And you can even see this car that's parked here in the parking lot. It's completely covered in snow. But the pavement is wet, but it's clear. There's no snow on the pavement.
Yeah.
So what do we have? Oh, we've got a merger special. Look at this. We've got a CP AC4400, a CP SD30 Eco, a KCS SD70, I think.
And 70 Mac, yep.
70 Mac, yeah. And then 2 more CP engines. That is the future right there.
Yeah. And then that second unit, that was a rebuilt SD40-2.
Right, the SD30 Ecos. I thought that's what I said. Maybe it wasn't. I'm sorry.
No, it was a 40-2. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So,
260. Yep.
Yeah, this would be our 260 train, and a lot of snow. You can tell he coming from further north. There's a lot more snow up in Wisconsin, Minnesota than there is here in eastern Iowa, as evidenced by the amount of snow covering the tops of the tank cars as they roll by in these hoppers. All right. So what else do we have here? Fiber optics at the Fort Madison building yet? No. I mean, the line is laid. We're waiting for them to turn on the service, but I'm hopeful that any day now I'm going to get the call and say, hey, we've got brand new internet connection at Fort Madison. So looking forward to that for sure.
I'm really hoping that helps the camera, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, hopefully. It will. I mean, make no mistake. The biggest limitation to that camera right now is the bandwidth. There's just no way around it. CTC between Cotter and Rutledge. So, yes, they're extending the Letts siding. They're building a siding at Washington. The Lindby siding has already been extended. And I was also told there's going to be a hold signal down at Rubio as well. So.
Oh, yeah, Rubio. Yeah, I was going to say, they got rid of Rubio sometime back.
Well, right, so there's no siding anymore.
Why did they do that?
I think it's just a stub track.
What's that?
I think it's just a stub track now. There's no siding at Rubio anymore.
Yeah, no, but like, why did they remove it? Like, I don't know.
Oh, because it was just a typical 5,800 foot siding that doesn't work for meeting trains anymore.
Yeah, it's like, so I guess instead of expanding it, they just ripped it up, I guess.
Well, so on one side, you've got the on one side of Rubio, there's the Raccoon River Bridge. I believe it's the Raccoon River. So there's no expanding without spending millions of dollars to double track a bridge.
Yeah, it's the Skunk River, I think.
Skunk River, yeah. All right, sorry, wrong feral wild animal. Yes.
Yes.
There's a pretty ratty-looking DPU.
Look at all that snow.
Yeah. But, so you've got the big bridge on one side, and then there was a derailment on the south end of Rubio where the switch was actually torn up pretty bad. And so after that, I think they put the switch back in, but they put in a smaller switch, and it became just a storage track. Because then in 2009, during the recession, I know that they were storing flat cars for SSAB and IPSCO down there at Rubio. And I just think they just never got put back into service, honestly. There was just no need for it. And now with the Linby siding being extended, there's really no reason to have Rubio there anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So to answer the question directly, I know that there's a plan that eventually Cotter to Rutledge will be CTC. I don't know if it's going to be this year or not. I don't have a good answer for that.
I believe they have started on cutting the earth and putting the earth in place for the siding in Washington. I believe it started.
Yes, they've started the dirt work east of Washington. That's right.
Yes, so maybe the siding will be in this year. I don't know.
Maybe. And it could be something just like Rubio or Linby where they put it in as a hand throw siding, power up the switches later. That's possible.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
All right, may have been the same train at CITX Leader because it was a tanker train passed through Memphis, go up to Canada. Sure, that's reasonable, I suppose, to conclude. CP7011 involved in a washout derailment in Maine yesterday or Saturday. Yes, very sad story, but glad to know that the crew is all safe. There's the end of our 260 going by, and I believe we're going to jump over now and check out Mount Pleasant, and this will probably be our last timestamp of the day. We're going to go down to the Mount Pleasant Coffee Depot webcam and check that out, except that I'm not finding the Mount Pleasant coffee. There it is. I found it now. Look at that. Exactly where it was supposed to be. We don't have to go back too far here.
Yeah.
I know that, did you have the actual timestamp for Amtrak?
Oh, for Amtrak? It was like within the past 5 or 10 minutes.
Right. Oh, I found it. Hang on.
Yeah.
There we go. Look at that. Perfect timing. Got to turn the volume down a bit here. But we've got... Yep. This is our eastbound California Zephyr, number 6. We watched him go by a tumbler. Now, 12:49, he was getting into Mount Pleasant to make his station stop there. All right. 260, yeah. How long before all the KCS gets painted red? Well, I don't know. I mean, CP is notoriously slow for repainting engines, as evidenced by the number of... Well, I guess there's one Milwaukee Road unit left that's still in the bandit paint. But
yeah,
the Milwaukee Road's been gone for almost 40 years, so... And there's still one of those left. So I'm guessing that 40 years from now, you're still going to find something like an ST70 Mac running around that's still in KCS paint somewhere. Hiding somewhere in the system. So it's probably going to be a slow process. And yeah, a handful of Sioux Line locomotives that were there. Yeah, that even very recently, there's still been Sioux Line Jeeps that are still in the original red and white paint. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's like maybe 3 of those left in service. I might be wrong with the numbers, but it's less than 5, I think. Unless there's more in Canada, but I don't think so. I think it's like less than 5 at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I miss those 60s. I miss those ST60s.
Yeah, those Sioux 60s.
Yeah.
There were so many of those that were just begging for some home on a short line somewhere, and it didn't happen. A lot of them ended up getting scrapped.
Yeah, but there's a few out there still. There's one on short line Texas.
Yeah.
There might be others. I don't know. Yeah.
CTC from Chillicothe, Kansas City. Yes, that's going to happen too. That's part of the plan. Yep. And
well, I mean, that's already in between Chillicothe at least.
Right.
I guess.
But I know what he's talking about. He's talking about the gap from Laredo to Rutledge. Or
oh, yeah, definitely.
Laredo to Ottumwa, which is also going to get filled in. Yes. CP's commitment to expand passenger rail. Yeah, that's down in Louisiana, I believe, where they agreed to that. So I imagine it'll happen, but it's going to be a while coming also.
I'm assuming on the Speedway, I'm guessing.
Yes.
That's just begging for a passenger train.
Eastbound normally go on the north track at Mount Pleasant. No, that's something that we were just talking about a minute ago, that the eastbound typically should be on the South Main.
Correct, yeah. And probably some maintenance going on. That'd be my guess. Or they might be running around a train. Actually, they're probably running around a train.
Maybe.
Now that I think about it.
If we went and watched the log on the webcam here, we'd probably be able to figure out what it is that they're... But, maybe an eastbound loaded coal train that they ran them around between crossovers. Yep. Southbound at Hines. Well, Tanner, we're not going to be able to hang around for the southbound at Hines, but anybody that wants to, you should totally skip over to Muscatine and watch that southbound go by. So, anyway, we're going to call it a program. Thank you, Sam, for being on with me today. And
no problem.
I like this open line format. I think that we need to do this again sometime in the future. And thank you, everyone who threw in timestamps, because that was very, very helpful. And we will definitely try to do this again with the actual open line format. Thank you to the 46 people that logged in and watched today. And make sure to check out steel-highway.com and order your copy of the magazine. Subscribe for the whole year at a discount. Check out some of the great merchandise that we have there. And everyone have a fantastic Monday.